Welcome everyone to episode 17 of the Phoenix Report. I'm Jack Connor. We have an excellent, very unique guest today. She is not only the first female artist to be a guest on this show, but also the first guest of ours to come from the worlds of both mainstream pop and country music. Her name is Amanda Keller, and she is an up-and-coming singer and songwriter from the Tampa Bay area. Now, the story of how I first met Amanda has a lot to do with a mutual friend of ours, a very talented bass guitarist named Jamie Grinnell. I first met Jamie Grinnell back in 2005. My first band, Lives Page, would frequently play in the Tampa St. Pete area with a great band he was in at the time called Shadow Rising. Previously, Jamie had been known as the bassist for a really great band called Born into Chaos, which had a lot of local success. And now after his time with Shadow Rising, Jamie would later go on to play with many other bands, including Transera and Surviving the Siren. Fast forward to late 2010, early 2011, Jamie had been going through a few personal issues and gave me a call one day. He told me about how he was playing in a local top 40 cover band called D42, but he was going to be inactive for the next couple of months because he was entering rehab and treatment for alcoholism. He had called me personally to ask if I was interested in filling in for him on bass in this cover band he was playing in while he was away. Now, although I was in two fully active original bands at the time, I was happy to cover for him. Plus, I was excited at the chance to play in a cover band, even if it was outside of the genre that I was used to playing or listening to. So I looked at it as a really exciting challenge, and it turned out to be a lot of fun. Everyone in the band was really great to get along with. We got to play a lot of shows, which at much nicer places than I was used to playing. And it was great. You had more of a sort of a wider audience. You know, they were shows that, like, my parents, for example, could come to and feel a little bit more comfortable than, say, some of the hard rock metal shows that I was in. Just because of the nature of the environment and the music. And I really had a good time, and it really was stress free. I got to play some really great songs. I remember friends of mine would come to me and ask, like, Jack, how could you go up there playing, Katy Perry and all this other pop stuff of the day? And I was like, look, I'm at the stage where, I'm comfortable enough with who I am and what kind of, and the style that I have and the things I like, where even if it's not something I normally listen to, I can still go up there and have fun and play, and 'cause it's really about the audience anyway. Plus, made a few bucks while I was there. Now everyone in the band was really cool. It was led by a really nice guy named Andrew Garrison, who he was the lead singer, band leader, and also played trumpet. But there was also a girl singer that was there, and she and I ended up getting along really well, and that was Amanda. And so I think before I start getting too deep into the history of the band, I think I'll just bring her out. Please welcome to the Phoenix Report, Miss Amanda Keller.
Hi, how's it going?
Doing good. Thanks again for doing this, by the way. I know you have a gig this afternoon, so I don't want to take up too much of your time, but yeah, I figured that this would be a good way to get you on here. How did you first come into playing with D42?
Oh gosh. Okay, so I was like, I think I was 17. It was like my 18th birthday, maybe. And I was out doing karaoke with my mom, or we were out eating dinner, and then I decided to get up on the karaoke mic, and I sang I believe it was a Faith Hill song. Mm. And there was a group of guys who were actually slamming some beers back, so my mom was a little iffy about it when they came up to me. And they started talking to me about, like they were just like, got an awesome voice. We have a band, and they were a little intoxicated, but it was still like,
right.
I was like, that's really cool. I kind of want to see if I can do that, Mom. And she's like, I don't know, because these guys, we just met them at a restaurant.
Right. She was probably thinking, like, hey, guys, she's 17. Take it easy.
Yeah. They were hitting on me or something because I was so young. So she was like, well, if you really want to do it, she always leaned to me. I always loved singing. I always wanted to be a singer. Mm-hmm. She said, if you really want to do it, I'll go with you to, the tryout. So I went and I tried out for this band, and it was kind of like the rest was history. Like, I went to one practice, and they gave me a couple songs to do, which at the time I didn't really know. I didn't listen to all that like rock music growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So started having me sing Joan Jett and things like that. I was like, I've heard these songs, but I don't know them that well.
Right.
Now I love those songs, and those were the first songs that I started singing when I was, getting into the cover band scene. And it just kind of took off from there, and I started going to practices and eventually going and doing shows with them, and then it just was like a life of its own kind of thing.
That's pretty cool. Now, I mean, you said you hadn't ever done like a cover band or anything like that before that. Now, growing up, had you performed before? Had you been in like school plays or done anything else like as a kid?
No, I was in just this. I was never a lead in a school play or anything like that. I was always actually really shy, so it was a really big step for me to take to get into performing. I was terrified at first. I didn't know what to do. It was really scary. You stand up on stage and you're like, am I going to forget the lyrics? Are these people going to like me? And you start judging yourself, instead of just doing what you love. And so it was scary, but I got used to it and started having a lot of fun with it. And that's when I really started to like fall in love with not just singing, but performing also.
That's cool. Had you ever done any like voice lessons or anything like that growing up or anything like that?
Growing up, no, I didn't have any voice lessons. My sister, I watched her and she always loved to dancing. And she's my older sister, so I'm like, I love, that's fun too. And I love doing that and I want to do that too. And so we would do karaoke all the time. Like my mom would take us to do, and I remember sitting in the living room and singing Whitney Houston, like blasting it. And we would always dance and sing to Whitney Houston.
Nice.
All her old stuff. Like I want to dance with somebody and
yes.
all that. I still love.
I was going to ask if that one was your jam or what.
It is my jam. Every time we have to do it or sing it, I'm so down for it. It's one of my favorites.
Nice. Rest in peace, Whitney.
Yes.
That's out of curiosity, when you met the band, was that at Mugs and Jugs or one of those places or?
It was actually at Applebee's.
Okay.
They were having like a karaoke night at Applebee's, like to start promoting. I guess they were starting to open late, and it was the weirdest thing. I was just there with my mom, and yeah, I got up there to sing like one song, and that's how it happened.
That's funny. Like I've never been to a karaoke night at Applebee's, but I've heard that they have that now. And in fact, this one guy who I know who plays in another like sort of hard rock metal band, he would be like telling me, he's like, bro, you got to go to Applebee's. I'm like what are you doing at Applebee's?
I'm serious. It became like this like hoppin' night or something, and everybody was. I started seeing a lot more people out there, and there's some decent people that go out there. It was fun while we were doing it.
Right.
Doing thing is more fun than karaoke. It's on another level. I love it.
How much of a shock was it for you to start like you mentioned picking up the rock stuff like Joan Jett and like other things? Was that like a strange transition for you or?
I don't know. Like it's weird because my voice actually naturally does those kind of things. Like rock is actually not so hard for me to do. I have a harder time doing the pop stuff than I do rock. Like
really?
The rock stuff. Yeah, it's weird. But I love country. So like country is where like my heart is. And when I've always, like I said, I grew up with listening to Whitney Houston, but I've always also listened to Shania Twain. She's been another huge influence on me, and Faith Hill and Leanne Rimes, all those girls back in the. And so when Carrie Underwood came out, she's my all-time favorite.
Really?
I love her vocals. Yeah. I love her stage presence. I love her style, like everything about her. She's like my idol. And so when she came out on the scene on American Idol, as soon as I heard her voice, and like when she tried out, I was like, she's got it. She's gonna win. She's amazing. And sure enough, she did. And I've just always, looked up to her since then and tried to like model myself after her. Try to at least. I'm definitely not the same. I have a lot of different things about me, about my voice, but as far as being an idol.
Definitely. Well, I mean, she's one of the few people from American Idol who, I mean, there's maybe a handful of them who have gone on to like real big success, from the show. So that says a lot about her. Yeah,
she's definitely hugely successful, and she's just getting better. And I love the message she sends to young girls and to people, and just she's got a good heart and she doesn't have to get crazy or anything like that to, for her music to be relatable.
Right. Yeah, I mean, she definitely seems like, that girl next door vibe, very approachable, so I think a lot more people tend to respond to that than some of the more out there
Right.
artists that are out there. I mean, not that, I mean, there's a place for that, of course, that's entertaining to a lot of people, but I think a lot more people tend to identify with girls like Carrie Underwood and stuff like that because she seems like a real person. So that's a part of it. Yeah, it's interesting that you bring that up. A lot of like the country artists from the '90s as well. I was really impressed by your the video you did that was sort of the tribute to the women of country.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun to make. I love that video. It was definitely interesting when we first were like trying on all the wigs
and all the costumes.
Yeah, playing the parts, but it was a lot of fun to make. Like I love doing it, and we've actually done quite a few country women of country tribute shows since then. So
I thought I saw something that you had actually gone there and done it like almost like a cabaret style where it's like you're going there and actually dressing the part and the costume changes. I think that's a really cool concept. And how has that been received so far?
It's really cool. Getting used to the quick changes and stuff is a little bit, it's difficult, but you get used to it. You have to, like, because I had never done that before. Whenever I perform shows, it's just the whole one outfit thing. You get up there and play the whole show.
Mm-hmm.
So jumping off the stage to go change real quick and coming back, I had to get used to that. But it was a lot of fun. Like I really loved it, and it was received pretty well. Like we played the Seafood Fest in Madeira Beach, and that went really well. There was a lot of people. We sold a lot of CDs, and we had a lot of fun with it. So it's what I want to do is the country thing, like the country music. That's where my heart is. So to get that and have people receive it was awesome.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that really impressed me about the video, and like I mentioned before, I mean, obviously, because of people in our age group, you grew up with a lot of the artists from the 90s, your Shania Twains and Faith Hills and that sort of thing. But what I was really impressed about that video was that you went deeper than that. You went back to like Patsy Cline and like Reba McEntire and stuff like that, and Martina McBride and like
Dolly Parton,
and like Loretta Lynn and stuff like that. Like you didn't just focus on necessarily one era. You went back a couple decades and back to the generation before that, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, we tried to like make the video relatable to a bunch of different audiences, and we wanted to do like kind of like an era thing where we're doing it back in like the 60s, 70s, and then fast forward to the 90s, and then we did a Taylor Swift Carrie Underwood thing from like the 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
We tried to cover the whole spectrum, which was again like really interesting to hear the differences in everybody's voice and to hear to try and convey these characters was really cool because they're all so different. Like they all brought something very, very different.
Definitely. Were you familiar with some of those older artists, or did you listen to them a lot, or did you kind of discover them through this?
Some of them I discovered through, like, I've heard of Loretta Lynn. I didn't necessarily know all her music. I love Patsy Cline, and Crazy is one of like the best songs ever. And I learned about Crazy back in the 90s when Leanne Rimes covered it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Then my parents have always loved that song. They have like Patsy Cline CDs and stuff like that, so they grew up on that as well. Another thing that impressed me was that you actually got Jamie to dress the part, which that was just very entertaining for me.
Oh my gosh! Actually, it's really funny that you said that, because when we were filming the video, it was hilarious. We're all sitting there on the stage, like all the musicians and everything, and some of the musicians don't have all this country attire, so we're trying to like dress up. So James brought an extra pair of boots for our guitar player Nelson, which didn't fit. So he's making jokes the whole time, and his foot was halfway in the shoe, and he's like, "I'm high heeling it over here." It was actually really hilarious.
Like, it was like cutting off circulation.
I can't do this. Somebody get this shoe off my foot.
He must have had a hell of a time trying to hit the pedal board and all that.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. But luckily, it was just the video portion of it, because we recorded in the studio for the audio portion of it. and then we had to, mesh them together. But so he didn't have to necessarily press too hard down or anything because he wasn't. It was just a video, it wasn't real playing. Like he played all that in the studio.
Right. So that's funny. You're probably like, all right, boys, we got to go shopping after this. Come on.
We need to get you guys bandanas and plaid shirts.
Yes, let's go. That's great. So I mean, let's talk about D42 for a second. Kind of going back a little bit. Now, how did that kind of prepare you for what you're doing today, as far as like trying different stuff and learning all these other songs that you probably weren't even exposed to before?
Oh gosh, like I owe a lot to those guys and to Andrew. Like I would not be anywhere where I am if it weren't for them. It was just by like, I don't know if it was, fate or it was God's choice that he put them in my life or whatever it may be. But, if I hadn't met them, I don't know if I would even be doing this. Like I wanted to pursue this, but I honestly, when I was younger, didn't know a way to go about it. It's so much easier now than it was 10 years ago because now there's the internet and you can post videos and you can, do things like that. So there's that exposure. There wasn't Instagram and there wasn't all these things that long ago to make it easy to do things. So when I met them, it was it was a huge blessing, and just getting to do that, like they prepared me. Andrew taught me about stage presence, and when I first started, like I said, my stage presence was not up to par, wasn't there. And
right.
Guys just really like pumped me up and, were like, you can do this, you got this. Mm-hmm. And were very, supportive and confident in me when I wasn't back in the day. Yeah. So it really, like, they helped me extremely. Like, I can't even say how much they all helped me. Like I said, I wouldn't be where I am if I hadn't watched and observed and, have tried to take on those same traits and things to get the audience into it and everything. Because before, when I first started, it was me standing up there with a microphone, just like a little shy kid on stage. I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
And then you get used to it and you have fun with it, and that's when it really starts to come together.
Absolutely, and you obviously you were lucky enough to get in with a really great group of guys.
Yeah.
And it must have been. I think it came together perfectly because as you mentioned the stage presence end of it. With that, at least the pressure is off a little bit because it wasn't necessarily just you. Obviously, the focus was on Drew as well as the other guys. So you had a chance to learn that way without necessarily being thrust into the center of attention right away.
Exactly.
You were able to come in and do your thing and kind of get more comfortable seeing these guys who have been doing it for years and years, and all those guys are professionals and happen to be nice guys, which makes all the difference in the world.
I couldn't have said it better. Like if I were to have gone into a band where it was just me in the beginning, I don't know that, I'd be where I am. I don't know that I could have, given myself that confidence to like continue and be a great performer. But I've honestly observing and them, helping me out made me all the better performer.
Right. And to that point, I remember one of the most memorable shows that I had done when I was subbing with the band for a couple months is that one time where Drew wasn't able to make it. Yes. So we had to go on just us without Drew, and I mean I sang a few songs, but for the most part you kind of took control of most of the vocals, and I could tell. I remember how nervous you were going up before it. You were like, oh my god, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I've never fronted it by myself, and I mean, I remember telling you, it's like, it's okay. We're going to be up there with you. It's going to be fine. And you absolutely crushed it. And,
thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was such a fun show. Like, do you remember when we were at Frenchie's, and I remember, and I remember we were playing a Party in the USA, and that one family, and they had like 3 little girls or something with them. They were looking at you like you were Miley. I mean, before she was a freak. This is a couple years ago. But I'm saying, like to them, you might as well have been Taylor Swift. I mean, what was that feeling like for you?
It's really cool. Like, I love when, like, little girls or little kids love the music and they get into it because you can see, like, it sparks their passion or fire in their eyes that maybe say that'll be something they like. Or, if they see me up there doing it, that's something they wanted to do, maybe it'll give them that confidence boost. So like I love like relating to people, like through songwriting, through performing, everything. If they love what I'm doing, like that's the reason that I do it.
Right.
But, like, it's because it's the best feeling. You don't, if you get up there and nobody relates to it, it doesn't feel good for you either. So when you get up there, that's what you want to do. You want to put a smile on people's face. You want to, make people happy, make them forget their problems for that moment or whatever it may be. So it's really cool, especially with little kids. And then when they want to take pictures and get up on stage, I'm like,
right.
Oh, come on up.
Yeah. I remember that stuff, and like they might not even remember your name or whatever, but they'll probably always remember that moment where they're like, "Hey, remember when we saw that band and that girl? She was so good, and she had us on there." And like they'll probably remember that, and who knows, they might be inspired to do something like that themselves one day.
Yeah, exactly. That's would be amazing. I'm sure other artists here, like. I'm sure if somebody like Carrie Underwood heard how highly I thought, like that probably, makes them love what they do even more. So it's like if somebody ever was inspired by me to get into performing or to singing or anything like that, that just makes my heart happy.
Right. Now I remember when Jamie came back, when he finished up with rehab, and by the way, for all the listeners, he's totally fine. I mean, he's been sober for many years. He's doing great. Yes. He really turned his situation around, and again, it's not really my place to tell his story. That's on him. I want to get him on here one of these days. He's a great dude. He's doing great. But anyways, I remember when he first came back to the band and we got to talking, and he was like, yeah, me and Amanda, we've been getting together and we've actually been writing some of our own stuff, and like the plan is to sort of launch her as a solo artist and me be her like, co-writer and music director and all this other stuff. And I remember talking to him, I was like, wow, that's an awesome thing, because, as fun as it is to, play covers and play other people's stuff, and it's always like that's sort of another challenge in and of itself, doing your own thing and putting yourself out there. But it's also sometimes it's a little bit necessary if you really want to try and go for it and make that transition. And I remember talking to him, and I was like, Jamie, I mean, the country world, that isn't something I'm familiar with, but if I could give one piece of advice, that I was telling him, it was like you guys need to find like a particular hook, a particular thing that kind of sets you apart, because it's like, and I was telling him, like, Jamie, look, Amanda's awesome, but the thing is, there are a lot of pretty blonde girls out there who are singing country, so you guys really need to do something cool musically to kind of set yourselves apart from that. And I remember hearing your first single, All Along. I noticed that there were some rock elements in there as well, and like there was definitely some interesting stuff happening there musically. Right. Do you remember when I mean, whose idea was it first for you and Jamie to do something original? Did he bring it up to you, or was writing your own stuff something you always wanted to do? Like, how did that come together?
I'm pretty sure it was him first. Like, I had told him I was interested in writing and stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure that it was him that was like, well, what would you think about us getting together and writing or something? And then he had bought me this book. It was like a writing book and a pen, and it says my name on it. And he like gave it to me for my birthday and was like, this is here's, it was special, like leather bound book or whatever it is. Really nice book. He's like, you can write everything in this. And the pen box is really cool. It said, use this pen as your sword to like, I don't know, something like that, like to write everything down. So I've still used that same book. Unfortunately, the pen, it doesn't work anymore.
Right. Well, that happens.
Yeah. But I still use the same book, and he's just like, start writing down, whatever you feel and like what you want to write about. And so we started doing that, and eventually, like, now we have about, I want to say 10, 11, 12 songs or something. And he writes amazing music. Like, his music is so good, so different. And I'm so lucky to be a part of it. Like, he's such a great writer, and I'll, come in with lyrics and melodies and things like that. or sometimes I'll say, what about this chord progression? And we'll go from there. But it's like, it just, for whatever reason, worked. And so I seriously think that we were put in each other's lives to do something like this and to make a difference and to write music, because I believe that whenever we write together, it's just like awesome stuff, like things come out of it. And I love a lot of the songs we've written, and there's another one that it's going to be on the CD. It's called Last Goodbye, which is like probably my favorite song we've written.
Yeah.
Slow ballad, but he's just like, just write about what you know. So I wrote about heartbreak and things that I've been through, and it worked. It just clicked, and that's a rarity, I think, when writing music. Two people that just click like that, it doesn't happen super often.
Yeah, I mean, it really is all about that chemistry when you're working with someone. You have to, kind of, obviously the talent has to be there, but you also have to, you have to, be able to click personally. And it sounds like you guys do a great job of that.
Yeah, because we've been friends for, oh gosh, like almost 9 or 10 years now. So we've been friends for a long time. So we had that chemistry as friends, and then it just clicked with writing and everything, and it became great. Oh, thank you. By the way, I'm periscoping this right now. And
oh, are you really?
Yeah, I was periscoping this, and somebody said that Last Goodbye is excellent. They like the song. It's my favorite song, like I said, that I've written. I have a video of it, me singing it live, in St. Pete, on YouTube also. So I have a couple videos of like stuff like that. But as far as out, it'll be on the CD when we get it out, hopefully by next year. Well, I mean, it will be out by next year, but hopefully the beginning of the year. So.
Nice. Man, if I knew you were periscoping, I would have promoted it or something.
No, I didn't even know I was going to do it. And then I was like, I haven't been on Periscope in a while. Maybe I'll Periscope the interview. That would be a good thing. So.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's killer. Yeah, I mean, and it sounds like, I mean, the EP sounded great. Are you guys working on recording anything else, or?
Yeah, we've actually been in the studio. We were in the studio a couple months ago, and we recorded almost all of the rest of the songs. So it's going to be about a 10-song CD, maybe 11. We might throw an extra one in there. But we've recorded all of them, but 2. We have 2 left to record in the studio. And it's just, I believe we've already laid down all the music, and just vocals need to be recorded for the last 2, I think. And it's coming together nicely so far. I really love it. Like, I like the writing aspect, so I like all the lyrics and everything, and I like it to be relatable to other girls and other people in general, like if they've gone through the same thing, because like I said, a lot of it's about heartbreak or just things you go through in life.
Would you say that that's most of your lyrical inspiration, just personal experiences or stuff like that?
I would say personal experiences, or I'll take from people around me and see, like, if I see something that someone else goes through, I can use that for inspiration. Or even sometimes I'll just come up with a story in my head about how I wanted to do something, and I'll write about that. Like, I think, and recently James and I have been talking about writing more about personal stuff, like, because it's really hard. I don't think people understand how hard it is to get really personal, because it's basically throwing your whole life out there for everyone to see. And, with the way the internet is these days, it's so easy for people to judge you, and it's so easy to sit behind a computer screen and to say mean or nasty things. So, like, I think that's something that holds me back from even getting deeper into, like, delving deeper into the writing process. Like, I'm a little bit scared, and like, I admit that it scares me a little bit to, put out everything out there and then have people be like, oh, well, like, I don't know, judge me on it or tell me that that's wrong or I'm stupid or whatever it may be. So, like, I judge myself and I get scared that they're going to do that. And so eventually I'll like dive even deeper into it and write about even more important stuff. But it in due time, it scares me still.
No, I mean, that's a perfectly normal response to that, because I mean, just the trolling and just the world we live in, just some of the people on social media, it just gets out of control, and it just gets ridiculous. So that's a perfectly normal response to that. And
I just wish people could be like nicer to people, or if they don't have anything nice, just don't say it, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I feel so easy for someone to just put a response or a comment that they would never say to somebody to their face.
No.
Like, they never say that if you pass them on the street, but they're hiding behind their computer screen, and a lot of the time it just reflects how they feel on themselves, like about themselves. So they're, putting negative energy out there, and I'm terrified of negative energy because I like to bring positivity to the world and to the people around me. So, like, I mean, everyone can get negative, and I have my days I can get negative for sure, but I usually would never post about it. I don't think I have actually probably in years ever posted something negative.
No, I mean, I don't think you ever have. I've never seen that from you.
I don't usually rant on there or anything like that. If I'm going to do that, I'll do that to my best friends or to my mom or to my family,
Right.
And I'll tell them about a bad day that I had or something. But I feel like putting all that out there, like, the world is so negative as it is. Like, we just need to, like, be positive, lift each other up, and try and have better days.
I mean, the crazy thing is with some of the things that people make, comments about is just, sometimes sometimes people do it like almost like as a joke, and it's like they don't even mean it, but they don't realize it's like,
Well, yeah.
people don't always get that. Like, it still can be hurtful, and like people don't realize it, and they just think it's like something like, so it's such a crazy disconnect out there.
I think they're talking to a screen. They don't realize that somebody else is sitting on the other side of that screen, and it's a person, and they have feelings, and it's hurting them, whatever you're saying, and they don't understand that. People don't get that. So I think that's, like you said, it's a really big disconnect. Like, their brains just think that, like, this is just, like, it's not a person, it's just a thing. So
Right.
they don't care what they say. And, like, I feel like the further that I get into my music career, the less I will look at the comments, and the less I will, I want it, but it's like a catch-22, because you want to be able to interact with your fans, and you want to be able to, to the people who are there to support you and they're watching your career, you want to talk to them, you want to interact with them, you want to let them know that you love them and you're there and that you're a real person. But then at the same time, as you're trying to interact with them, you'll see negative comments. And just because I sing or just because I do things on a stage doesn't mean I don't have feelings. Just like anybody does, Taylor Swift has feelings. And if people say mean things about her, it probably gets to her sometimes. We're not, just because you're a performer or just because, like, you're supposed to have thick skin, and I get that, but that's why we write songs like we do. That's why she writes songs like that mean song, because people, and shake it off, and that's what we kind of have to do. But I think it still gets to us, and it's like I said, a catch-22.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't be human if it didn't bother you a little bit,
Right.
But and this is something that I guess you could speak onto this. Now, I mean, something I wanted to ask you about. I mean, as a female artist, do you think that, like, sometimes the scrutiny is a little bit worse? I feel like you girls have it a little bit worse, because they don't just go after the music; they go after people's appearances and other things that it seems like female artists are held to like such a crazy high standard, and it's not fair. I mean, I'm sure you can speak on that a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's. Like, I'm by no means over here going to say, like, I'm a feminist or anything, but I totally think that girls are definitely put on a higher pedestal, and they expect you to be something like, like, I don't know, like different, like, just out of this world kind of thing. Like, they're going to judge your appearance, they're going to judge the way you dance, the way you sing, everything, whereas a guy could stand up on stage and just sing. And it doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't matter. Like, I think it's awesome that Adele kind of broke that mold. She's a beautiful girl, don't get me wrong, but, like, I guess her body type, like, wasn't what everybody was, fiending over and everything like that. But she's an amazing artist, and she's still a beautiful girl, beautiful person.
Sure.
And so, like, I think we're getting to the point where
or like even Susan Boyle, who's an older lady, but still doing her thing.
Right. And I just think, but I still do think that there is a lot of scrutiny when it comes to your weight, your
Right.
like like right now I'm doing this Skype thing, like I said, and I'm putting it on, Periscope. Yeah. And Liz just told me to break that cycle. Yeah. Which is what I really want to do. That's why I actually told you I was going to shower and get ready for this interview and like put makeup on, and because I didn't know it was going to be
Right.
just an audio thing. And so I was decided, you know what, forget it. I'm going to just put this on Periscope, and I have a beanie on and a sweatshirt and no makeup and my glasses right now.
Right. And that's perfect. That's all. I mean, and
Yeah.
like I was telling you, I was like, hey, don't worry about it. It's an audio thing. Don't sweat it.
But
Even if it wasn't, I wouldn't be like, hey, it's no big deal. You're just talking to me. Like, whatever.
I'm on Periscope and they can see me, and this is who I am. You know, like I don't wake up every morning dressed like, you know, and looking like when I'm going on stage. So
Right.
I think it's important for people to see who you are outside of, you know, the image that you're presenting to the world. Like, this is what
Yeah, I mean, it's okay to be a real person. You know what I mean?
I think that's the coolest part of it, is being a real person. And I think that's why people like Taylor Swift are so relatable, and so many people love her, and she has so many fans, because she's so relatable and she's real and down to earth, and she's goofy, and she's, you know, she can be weird, and everybody loves that about her.
Of course. And you know, I mean, maybe some of it is also just like sort of the way the music business used to be, and I think there's a lot of that left over, where it's like, you know, maybe certain record executives feel that like certain female artists need to appeal to a demographic, so they have to look a certain way or be a certain. And what they don't realize is that like some of the greatest female singers of all time, like you talk about Patsy Cline and like even Aretha Franklin and stuff like that, it's like, you know, I'm pretty sure that in their day they never had to worry about, oh, are 12 and 13-year-old boys going to find me attractive?
Oh,
you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they didn't have to worry about that at all back then, which, because the internet wasn't there, and there wasn't, you know, basically when to see that person, you had to see them live. Like, you didn't see them all the time, whereas now you'll get a new picture message on your phone every 3 seconds, and you can Snapchat, you can Instagram, you can Facebook, you can Twitter. There's all these social media outlets, so you're always, like, your image is always readily available to the public. So, you know, like pictures and people, I mean, if a celebrity's walking down the street and somebody sees them, they can snap a picture no matter how good or bad they look and post it right away.
Right.
So I think that you're right. Like, back then they didn't have to worry about that, because there weren't things to show what they looked like all the time. And I believe it was more about like their vocals and everything.
Right. Yeah. It's just, and I guess that's a sign of our society. I mean, you talk, even stuff like People Magazine and now TMZ and stuff like that. It's just, you know, it's crazy. But I mean, the fact that you're still doing what you're doing and just kind of pushing through that, and like that girl said, breaking the cycle. That's really what it's all about. And it takes like one person at a time. But you know, I think that's an important message to send through. So let's talk for a second about now who are some of the guys in your band besides Jamie? Okay.
So Jamie is my bass player. Thomas Griggs is my guitar player. He's amazing. He went to Berkeley, so he can play anything. He can literally play like anything from jazz to rock to country to pop, like everything. So he's a really awesome. And then we have Billy Camillo, who's my drummer, and he's awesome too. He's like a prodigy. This kid he can do anything on the drums. I don't know much about drums, but I know that he's awesome and like such a great player. And he's so young too. Like, he was playing in my band since he was like, for a couple of years now. So like when he was like 20, he started in my band.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, thanks. Somebody said they love my band.
Nice.
Liz, love it. Yeah, they're really, like, he's awesome. Alfred Shepard, oh gosh, he's another one. He's just an animal on the keys. He plays keys, and he is like totally, like, I can't even tell you, like, they're insane players, all of them. They're really, really great. And then when we do like 6-piece things, I have a guy named Pedro Amaral, and he sings with me, and he's a killer singer too. He has a band, and their CD I think he said they just finished their CD. What's the band called? Actual Bank Robbers is what his band is called.
Nice.
And he's an amazing singer. Like, love the guy. Super sweet person. Like, they're all just really great people. Like, and they all came out of, they're all like church players, so they can play gospel and, you know, anything. Like, they're just really, really great players.
I noticed that you added another guy on as like your guy singer for I guess strictly for the cover shows, but I mean on your top 40 promo video that's on your YouTube account, I noticed it was like, that's interesting. I want you know, because I mean it's still very much the Amanda Keller band. It's you know, but you know also with this new guy in there, and so that's kind of cool. I mean, this guy has his own thing going on, but obviously, you know, he joined up with you guys, and it kind of, you know, for the cover shows, I'm sure that, you know, kind of makes it a little bit more well-rounded.
Yeah. It's really cool to have him up there because, you know, then we have that extra element and we're able to do, you know, background vocals and things like that, and he can sing a song, and we have really great stage presence together. Like, we connect, and it's really cool to play with him. And like he's a great performer. He actually performed at Busch Gardens and stuff like that. So,
okay.
So he's like an all-around just like great performer, like singer, dancer, everything.
Nice. And I know you've been playing guitar for a little bit now. Have you been playing it on stage at all, or?
No, not on stage. I play a little bit. Like, I use it more as a tool for writing.
Right.
So like if I come up with something like a chord progression or something like that, that I like, then me and Jamie will talk about it, or I'll, you know, show him something like that, and then we can, you know, either write further into that or scrap it, whatever. But I haven't played on stage yet. I'm a little bit nervous for that, but I want to. Like, that's something that I want to do.
I mean, how tough has it been, like, transitioning from like playing the cover shows, you know, which are always a good thing. You can get booked other places. They usually pay a hell of a lot better than original shows. But
they do.
Yes, that's a given. Now, how has that been kind of transitioning to like playing in like an all original set? Has it been tough to get booked certain places? Like, how has that been going?
It's really tough to get original shows, especially if people don't know your music. Like, but we kind of try on our, on the cover shows, we'll kind of try and put a few original songs in there. We'll just like sneak them in there and see how they go over. And sometimes it goes over great. Sometimes they don't know the song and people just are looking around like they want to know what it is. So, we haven't done too many original shows like around here yet, but I'm confident that we're going to start getting those booked and everything into the new year once we get the CD out and everything like that, and people can hear all the tracks before and then maybe want to go to a show. But we've opened up a couple times for a guy named Nick Parlin. He's a magician around, and we opened up for him, and that was a great show, and everybody responded really well to we did all originals, and the response was really great. I had people coming up to me after the show. We loved it. We loved your set. We loved your originals. You know, where can I buy CD and things like that. So at least the shows we have done that have been original have gone over really, really well. And I think that people like the music. So I think it is going to be better next year. I'm confident in that, you know, we'll get more and everything. But like you said, it's hard to book original stuff around here, especially, when people don't know music.
Now, sometimes it's a matter, and I've gone through this a bunch of times whenever I've started a new band. Getting booked when no one knows who you are, it's always very difficult. Sometimes it's a matter of networking with the right people, meeting other artists that are, you know, kind of doing a similar thing, and just kind of finding that right hook there. And so, I mean, it's definitely tough to find the right venue and to find the right opportunity for that. But it's
especially hard, I think, around Tampa too for a country artist. Like, there's not a lot of demand for music around here. I noticed that because we've done country shows and a lot of them are in different parts of Florida. Like, we went to Wisconsin and we went to we go to Naples, and those places, they love country music, but around the Tampa Bay area it's not in as high demand. I mean, you'll see people come out for like the Luke Bryan concerts and things like that, but it's really hard.
Right. Now, I mean, I actually know a guy who plays guitar for this one country artist named Patrick Gibson. I mean, my friend isn't Patrick Gibson. He plays for Patrick Gibson, but
But
supposedly this guy tours like regionally, and I guess they do pretty well on that. So it's like some like, and that was one of the things like how I was racking my brain thinking about. I'm like, there's got to be some sort of demand out there, even if it's like festivals for like maybe some pop country crossover, whatever the case may be. But yeah, definitely. I mean. I can tell you that, I mean, I really like what you guys are doing. I'm trying to keep my eye out for stuff like that, and anytime I find stuff like that, I'm going to let you know about it. And
yeah.
so hopefully it keeps coming together. Now, for those listening who want to figure out more about you and your music, where would you send them? Like, where could they find you on YouTube and some of your other websites?
Oh, okay. Well, my YouTube name is Amanda Keller Music. So they can look it up on there. And my Twitter handle is Amanda J. Keller. I put the middle initial in there because I think my other name was taken.
Okay, that's Keller.
Yeah, Keller, Amanda Keller. It's like Helen Keller.
Right.
Facebook, Amanda Keller Music. A lot of the stuff is just Amanda Keller Music. That's what most of it. The Twitter, I think, is the only thing that's different.
Mm-hmm.
My Instagram, Amanda Keller Music. And, yeah, so on YouTube you can find videos that we've recorded, and my first single, actually All Along, the music video for that is on YouTube.
Yeah, that looked great, by the way.
I love that.
That must have been really cool to shoot something like that. I remember when you were like looking for actors to like play like your love interest in the thing, and I was like, right on, man, you're really doing it.
Yeah, it was really fun. And I ended up getting an actor that I know because actually it was an ex. So
really.
Wow. I was looking around for different actors, and I didn't quite know, who I wanted to play the part and who I'd feel comfortable with. And it was my first music video that I was doing, and there was a kissing scene. And so when it came down time to like look for certain actors, I had a book that they had given me, and they're like, here's a few actors. And I was like, I don't know about this. I'm like, I have a crazy idea, but what if I just asked my ex who the song is actually written about? Like, how cool would that be if he said? So he said yes, and it actually went fine, and we're still friends. We still talk, like every once in a while we'll talk, but and he did it for me, and like it turned out great. So that was really nice of him.
That's hilarious. I didn't know that was the real thing, and I'm like, oh, geez, what was that like? There's
a little backstory on the music video, so
right.
If you want to check it out, you can go to Amanda Keller Music on YouTube, and it's on there. It's called All Along, and also the single is for sale on iTunes. I believe it's like 99 cents or something like that.
Right on. So, and could they get your original EP on iTunes as well, or?
Not yet. Oh, the only thing on iTunes is All Along. That's the only one we released right now. But as soon as we're finished with the album, we're going to put that on iTunes. And I'm sure we'll probably put it on Spotify or one of those two. So like if they have a Spotify subscription, you can find it on there or something like that. But, yeah, I can't wait for that. That's going to be exciting. Right now, just All Along, but the rest of them soon to come.
Ah, okay. All right. Very cool. Sounds like you guys have a lot of cool stuff in the works. You already have the YouTube channel up and running. I've shown some of your videos to like other people I know. I was like, hey, if you're looking for a female artist, you should check out my friend Amanda. She's doing this thing, and that's been getting good responses so far. So definitely for those of you out there listening, definitely check out Amanda's stuff. She's awesome. Thank you so much for doing this.
Of course. Thank you so much, Jack.
Very cool. Any final thoughts for the listeners out there before we sign off?
I just want to say thank you guys for listening in and hanging out and getting to know me. And thank you, Jack, for doing this interview. It was awesome. I had fun.
Thanks again to my good friend, the lovely and talented Amanda Keller. Just a great person. Really, I'm really proud to see where she's. To see how far she's come, and she's really doing a lot of good things. Definitely check out her music if you get the chance. It was really interesting having her on as a guest for just for two reasons. Namely, first of all, she's the first female artist I've had on here, and I think it's interesting kind of hearing stuff from that perspective because, let's be honest with ourselves. There are a lot of different, just crazy double standards out there for not just female artists, but I think for women in general. But that's a whole nother thing to get on. But it was good to sort of talk about that stuff. And second, as someone from the country and pop music world, to tell about how she's trying to get her career off sort of at the grassroots level, that I find really interesting because, being as a guy in rock and hard rock and metal bands and stuff like that, like you kind of get the idea of like, how a lot of those bands come up because I've spent so much time in those types of clubs. But I know there are other artists of other genres who maybe do it a different way. Like, I don't know what the local hip hop scene is like. I don't know what the local country scene is, or how, these young pop stars kind of get their foot in the door. I mean, besides like your typical, being discovered by the right person or being on the right TV show or something like that, Amanda's really doing it at the grassroots level and, writing her own stuff and getting out there and everything. And I think that's definitely something, it's definitely an interesting thing to take away out of this whole thing. So it's that just always fascinates me, people who are of other genres, to see how they do it at the grassroots level, where they're, whether they're instrumentalists or DJs or whatever the case may be. So I don't know, hopefully I'll have some other kinds of guests on there like that. As far as some upcoming events, some shows I have coming up with Vertebreaker, our next one is Friday, January 8th at the Landfill Saloon in Melbourne. We will be doing a free acoustic show there. It'll be a really intimate environment. We will be playing there along with I Woke Up Early for My Funeral, Dominic St. Charles, and we will be opening the show for guitarist Jason Todd, who many of you may know as the original guitarist of Shinedown, and he was also in Fuel for a little bit. Singing with him will be singer Delacoma Rio, formerly of the band Sunset Riot. Delacoma is here all the way from Australia, so that should be a very interesting mix. It should be a great night, very laid-back acoustic vibe. And a week after that, we will be at the Haven in Winter Park, just outside of Orlando. That'll be the first time we've played there in almost a year and a half. So we are really looking forward to coming back there. We will be opening for the newly reunited band Stereotype, along with Rubble Road, Less Than a C, and Halo Violation. Going up in February 5th, we just got added to a huge show in Melbourne at the County Line Saloon. County Line Saloon, definitely, it's a country bar. You would think Amanda would want to play something like that. We will be there for Who Was I's CD release party. We will be there with Murderfly, Kill the Sound, and Thought of Redemption. That's going to be nice and heavy. Definitely don't miss that, all you metalheads out there. And after that, it will be Saturday, February 13th at the Shady Oaks Lounge in Palm Bay. We will be there celebrating the birthday of our good friend James Cripps, who I also had on this podcast. Go back and listen to his episode. We will be there also with I Woke Up Early for My Funeral, along with Days to Come and the debut of a brand new band called Siren. Also, that is a free show as well. Definitely don't miss that if you're in the Brevard County area. I do apologize for the quality of the recording. When I did the interview with Amanda, I was doing it via Skype, and her voice came through just fine. I could understand what she was saying, but for some reason, it just kept cutting out a lot, so that's why it kind of took me a long time to edit this, and hopefully you guys can still hear it and understand everything. I was, it's one of those things. I could have either done the interview over again or just kind of worked with what I had. And I think what I had was pretty good, and hopefully most of it came through. Hopefully it wasn't too hard to understand, but I think if you listen hard enough, you should be able to get the gist of it. So hopefully you did. Definitely check out Amanda on Facebook at facebook.com/Amanda Keller Music. Also on youtube.com/Amanda Keller Music. And follow her on Twitter at Amanda J. Keller. And make sure you follow me on Twitter at JackXConnor, like me on Facebook at facebook.com/JackConnorMusic, and check out my band at www.vertebreaker.net. And if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, make sure you email me at jackconnorpodcast@gmail.com or tweet me with the hashtag Phoenix Report. If you're listening to this on YouTube or iTunes, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, and go back and listen to all the other episodes. Thank you guys for listening. This has been the Phoenix Report with Jack Connor on the twobadbrains.com.